you didn't feel at home. And so it's like, well, okay, let's make application. We started asking them, well, how do you do this? What do you need to do to get a sorority? And then we started researching the black sororities that were, national sororities. Well, how do we get one started? And then we had to decide which one we wanted to start. So it was the one that fit our personality and who we were, the girls who were meeting. We decided on Alpha Kappa Alpha.
What was it about that particular sorority that fit well with your personalities and goals?
Academic, and the personalities were very ladylike, whereas Delta, we felt from the people we knew who were national Delta leaders, they partied and had a different kind of reputation. We were kind of like the good girls. The Deltas were the other girls. So the good girls wanted to be AKAs. Yeah.
Was there resistance? Was it difficult to get this group started?
No, it was not.
There was
Janice King, who was Dean of Women, we just made the application to her, and she said, well, I'll help you any way I can, and we'll get the ball rolling, and we just went from there.
So your second year here is when you ran for Homecoming Queen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we had never had an African-American homecoming queen before. Had we had any run?
We had, the year before me, was a young lady, Brenda Bailey. And word is she actually won, but they didn't give it to her because Joe Tave and others were wanting a recount of the votes because they said she may have lost by 2 or 3 votes. And so they wanted a recount, but of course they didn't give one. And so the next year, it's like, okay, let's do this again. So Joe Tave nominated me through Asset. Asset had just begun. And I went to one of the meetings because me being new on campus, I'm feeling my way as to what all of these organizations are and things like that. So I attended a meeting, and it just so happened during that meeting they were discussing who was going to run for Homecoming Queen. And Joe Tave being the president, I think my mind was who knows where. I wasn't thinking about that meeting. I was just there in body, probably thinking about I need to be in my dorm doing some other things. But all of a sudden I heard my name. I nominate Glenda McKissic. And then it's like, nominate me for what? And everybody seconded and voted okay. And when the meeting was over, it was like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? I'm nominated. Now what do you do? How do you run for Homecoming Queen? And there was no guideline in place as to how you would run for Homecoming Queen. So I talked to Brenda Bailey. What did you do, Brenda, when you were running for Queen? And she said, I just told everybody to vote for me. So, okay, it's like, in my mind, well, I've got to do more than that. And so in that book, I came up with some little cards with my picture and name on it, vote for me for Homecoming Queen, and I put up signs around campus. But I just saw what the other girls were doing, and it's like, okay, I've got to do that too.
And did you have a team of friends who were helping you?
I did. And basically they were the guys who were helping me put the signs out and nail the placards to the stakes and all of that. But yeah, but some of the guys, yes.
What role did Asset play in the actual campaign part of it? Did they help as well with that, or it was mainly just getting
word of mouth? Okay. Pretty much word of mouth. And as you know, Joe Tave is a good verbal advocate for whatever it is, if he believes in it. And I think pretty much that, and that was tremendous because he was highly respected on campus. And just him getting the word out that Glenda McKissic is the one running. We need to get behind her and support her and do whatever we can. So whatever organizations you belong to, if you're an athlete, if you're in the drama department, wherever you are, tell everybody, we have a candidate running and we need to get out and vote. That was pretty much his role. And at anything he was involved with, any meeting, whatever, he was always advocating that, which I think that in itself was it. And then when people started seeing the placards and the little vote for me cards people were wearing with with them pinned to them. I think that was it. And I didn't meet any negativism from that, from the other kids on campus, the white kids. In fact, I had a lot of people come up to me and encourage me, and look at me with admiration, like, well, you're running, I wish you good luck and whatever, very cordial. Very cordial.
The vote actually happens when they count the votes on right before homecoming? How does that work?
I don't know when they would count the votes. I just remember being in the student union building, telling everybody to go and vote for me, vote for me. And it seems like I remember not going to class that day because I was over there on that little ramp leading into the sub where you would go down to vote. It's like, well, I just can't go to class today. But I had planned that because, typically you can not go to one class and you still do okay. So that's got to be my one day not to go to class, so I can ask people to go and vote. And I don't know when they would count the votes, but I think they had to have known prior to the game.
Yeah.
They knew that.
Do you remember when you got the news that you'd won?
Right out there on the football field. I don't think anybody knew until it was announced. Of course, the administration may have known. But I remember the president, I was wearing a big afro. And when my name was announced, he said, well, you're going to have to help me with this. I don't know how to put a crown in all of that hair. I've never had to do that before. And it didn't dawn on me. And he said that before my name was announced. And I'm looking at him like, well, what are you talking about? It didn't register. But then when my name was called, the amazing thing, as I reflect on it, and as Joe and I have talked about it and other people, my mother, my godmother and father were in the bleachers on one end. And, most of the college kids, we would all sit together kind of in the middle. By the time they call my name, from the time they call my name to the president putting the crown on, my mother and godmother were on the field. Now, can you imagine how fast that had to have been? They were in the bleachers, and by the time he got ready to place the crown, they were in the pictures. So you'll see on some of those pictures, my godmother and mother are actually in those pictures.
Wow.
So they beat it down there. My dad didn't run out there on the field. But en route to the field, my mother was wearing a wig. Her wig fell off because my godmother, they were jumping up and hugging each other. So my mother's wig came off. She just reached down and put it back on.
Oh, what a
And
cool
on some of the pictures, her wig is not quite straight. But, it's like, wow, that was just phenomenal. And the excitement that I heard in the stands, I'm out here on the field. And to hear the excitement and see people jumping up, and it was blacks and whites. However, some whites, you could hear the moaning and groaning on one end, but the excitement on the other end of the field. And it was surreal. It was like taking all of that in at one time. The fact I actually won. I'm actually the homecoming queen. And then hearing the excitement here, seeing all of the other take place. But as I reflect on it, and then during that time as well, I can't truthfully say that people were leaving the stands because I won. Because during halftime, what do people typically do? They go and get refreshments, go to the restroom. But that could be the optimism in me as well. I just always tend to see things for the better and not for the worse. So some of those people were leaving, yes. But to say all of them got up and left because I was crowned queen, I wouldn't say that.
And this is you heard this story that everybody got at because you were crown queen was perpetuated in the news and some resistance.
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Right.
yes. And even though I believe some did leave because, like I said, I heard cheering and excitement where the black kids were, and the rumblings and the boos down on the other section, because even then we were segregated. The blacks were here, the whites were here in the stands. So I heard the two, but I chose to tune in to the positive and the excitement of it all and what it meant to so many people. That we're changing things. We're changing, and not for the worse, but for the better. We're moving and making things better for all of us at ET. If it hasn't happened all these years, eventually it's going to happen.
You believe that in every fiber of your being.
Yes, yes. Eventually it's going to happen.
Can you tell us some of the broad strokes of what happened next? I imagine it was a whirlwind.
It was. Okay, after being crowned and the pictures and all of that, I remember looking at the girls who were runner-ups. One young lady I think was truly genuine in that she accepted, the fact, okay, good for you, I'm happy for you. But the others the looks were like of disdain. Well, how could she?
Because you were black or because they lost? Or a little bit of both?
I think a little bit of both. I think a little bit of both. More or less because she's black. Mm-hmm. How can this black girl win out over me?
Yeah, white beauty trumps.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
And as I look at the beauties, the ET beauties and all of that, all white. And not just the homecoming queen, but Miss ET. Everything, just that beauty queen white. And all of a sudden now they're the ones, she won over me. I think for two of the young ladies, they could have accepted it better had it been a white girl.
Yeah. Is that my fault? She's going to get it.
Oh, is that mine?
That's probably
okay. But after that, for all the black students, it was, oh gosh, it was euphoric.
And that euphoria continued, I imagine, even amidst the controversy that followed?
Oh, yes, okay. Absolutely. And negatively, I received a few phone calls calling me the N-word. And you better watch your back. And I used to go to the library a lot because we lived in building F4, which I don't know if it's still there, where all of the sororities were.
Right.
And I didn't have to go very far to the library. But then it became apparent that maybe I better be, and I would go in the evenings, at night, after the dinner meal, go to the library, come back to the dorm and it's dark. Then I got, I started feeling a little bit uneasy. If people were walking behind me, laughing and whatever, it was like, oh my God, are they conjuring up something to do something to me? And so just out of safety, my brother would start walking me to the library, or I would go with other girls, and or some guys would say, but Queenie, they started calling me Queenie. Well, Queenie, we better go with you. Let us know when you go into the library. We'll walk with you, and let us know how long you're going to be over there. We'll be there to walk you back. But other than that, a few phone calls, not too much.
And you were saying that when the photographs of the photos that were taken in the woods instead of the president's house, can you tell that story?
Yes. Okay. If you look in all of the ET books, the queens would take the pictures in the president's mansion. We call it a mansion. The students, the president's house. Or wherever the president was, it's a beautiful, pristine environment. And when the newspaper, the ET newspaper and the photographer came to get me, I'm thinking I'm going to I'll get to go to the president's mansion. And he said, well, you know, things have changed. We're not going to the president's home for the pictures. Oh, okay. Well, where are we going? Oh, well, we've spotted this nice rustic fall scenic place that we want to take some pictures. And I'm thinking, well, okay, all right. But when we drove there, parked the car, and then we had to walk into the forest. I call it a forest. Had to walk into the woods. And I'm in my long formal, in heels and everything. It's like, something is not right with this. You know, why am I having to walk down here? And then I started thinking, well, are they going to do something to me? You know, it was just me and them. And it's like, oh my God, you know, just a lot of things started going through my mind. But then the optimism, you know, everything is okay. They're just going to take pictures. Everything is going to be okay. But all the time I'm thinking, should something happen, I won't say what, but then I was thinking bad things, rape, you know, what if these are not the real camera people from the ET paper? After the fact, it's like, oh my God, you know, I'm out here with these two guys, one who was the reporter and one who's the camera guy. What if they're not the real people and they have brought me to these woods? Oh, my heart was beating fast. And, you know, I just prayed and, you know, everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. And then in my mind, though, if something should happen, be prepared to defend yourself, to run, whatever. But it didn't happen. Thank God. You know, they were the real journalists and the camera guy. They took the pictures. And when those pictures came out, other people reacted to them. I had already experienced what they were seeing, you know, me going into the woods. And as I look at my face now, I was looking in that ET paper, I think it was the Locust, not the paper, the yearbook, the Locust, for the year of '69. I was looking at those pictures, and I have over the years, and my face is not completely relaxed. I can tell that. Maybe others can't, but I remember what was going through my mind. And, you know, it wasn't the, and I looked at the Queen, the ET Queen's picture in the mansion, and she just looked so happy, so radiant, and so regal. And here I am in the woods.
Right next to the lynching tree.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. So all of that, I think, came through in the picture as I looked at it. It wasn't like I'm regal, I'm a queen. That was not the feeling at all.
Wow. So
but
the
yes,
contrast between you actually getting that crown and your mom and godmother behind you,
yes,
and everybody just screaming with glee from the
yes,
stand, and then the picture is pretty stark.
Yes, yes, all of that. Yes, and then too, I think the reception was before all of the picture taking, and then for the court not to show up, that was the first time ever the court didn't show up. That was just an automatic. You know, the Queen and the court showed up to this reception, and I think one young lady came. The others, I think, in the book that I brought, said they had other commitments, you know, whatever was going on, they couldn't make it. But this was after the fact, and I think after the students reacted to it, then the sororities, the young ladies who were runner-ups, felt obligated to send a little card explaining why they were not there. You know, it had nothing to do with me being the first black queen, but they had other things to do. But never before, that was always a priority. You know, the Queen and the court, that was a priority. Plus, as many people didn't show. I remember the tables being set with food and, you know, and it was in the ballroom over at the Sub. Now, you don't get a ballroom if you don't expect a lot of people to be there. Traditionally, it had been filled with everybody coming to the ball, to that reception. Didn't happen. It did not happen.
Did that make you sad about? Or
Yes, yes, it did. You know, if you lost, which they did, be gracious about it. Do the protocol things, and then go on about your way. It was just for one more day. You know, just show up and then go on about your business.
Right. So so your sadness was just maybe more. You thought more of them than what they actually displayed. Or?
Yes. You know, and then it was like all of that grinning in your face and congratulations. You know, you didn't mean that. You know, it was fake. That wasn't really what you meant because you didn't show up.
Absolutely. So, what did you major in?
Business.
Business?
Yes, I did.
And,
business.
Then, when did you graduate?
I graduated August of '71.
And then you went to UNT for the certification?
No, I went to California. And lived out there, worked out there as a teacher, got my master's degree out there. And when I moved back to Texas, because I was in California, I think about 9 years. And when I came back here, got my certification for administration.
And so you were spent your career at is it DeSoto? Is that what you said?
No, Dallas.
Dallas
Independent
and
School
so the whole
District.
time you were there with the Dallas Independent School District.
Yes, I was.
Did you expect as a child in Mineola to be a teacher and then an administrator in Dallas?
No, because Dallas was the big city, and remember I said our population was about 3,000. But I always felt that I was supposed to do big things. And coming from Mineola, my father had a 6th grade education. My mother graduated high school and attended business school, but didn't use that because where could you be a secretary being a black woman during those days? So she ended up just doing the same kind of work every other woman did, you know, day work and all of that. But they had bigger, better, greater plans for us, and they instilled that in us with the education part. You know, education, because I don't want you to have to do this kind of work. I want you to live a better life. And my aspirations at the black school, I remember being asked, what do you want to be? And it was a stewardess, because you could dress nicely, you know, just be a stewardess.
Travel the world?
Be a secretary. Yeah, travel, because I enjoy travel to this day. A secretary or a stewardess. And I was looking at some of the information in the book that from ET. I think someone put in there that I wanted to be a photographer. And I'm thinking, I've never wanted to do photography. Did I say that, or did somebody just put that there? Because I've never been interested in photography.